What would you do if you discovered that your best friend had been stealing your identity piece by piece for over a decade, and you only found out because they made one tiny mistake? This is the terrifying true story of how Jessica Martinez uncovered the most elaborate identity theft scheme imaginable, orchestrated by someone she trusted more than her own family. Jessica had known Ashley Collins since they were 12 years old. They met at summer camp and instantly became inseparable. Ashley was everything Jessica wasn't: confident, outgoing, and seemingly fearless. While Jessica was shy and struggled with self-esteem, Ashley always knew exactly what to say to make her feel better. They were like sisters, sharing everything from clothes to secrets to dreams about their future. Throughout high school and college, their friendship only grew stronger. They went to the same university, shared an apartment, and even got jobs at the same marketing firm after graduation. Ashley was Jessica's maid of honor at her wedding, and Jessica was there for Ashley through every breakup and career setback. They were the kind of friends that everyone envied, the type that people said would be friends forever. But Ashley had been playing a much darker game than Jessica could have ever imagined. For 15 years, Ashley had been systematically stealing pieces of Jessica's identity, using her personal information to build an entirely separate life that Jessica knew nothing about. And it all started with something as innocent as knowing Jessica's social security number. The discovery happened completely by accident. Jessica was applying for a mortgage to buy her dream house when the loan officer called her with confusing news. According to the credit report, Jessica already owned 3 properties in different states, had multiple business loans, and had a credit history that didn't match what she remembered. At first, Jessica thought it was a simple mistake or perhaps someone with a similar name, but when she requested her full credit report, the truth began to unravel. There were addresses she'd never lived at, employment records from companies she'd never worked for, and financial accounts she'd never opened. Someone had been living an entire parallel life using her identity, and they'd been doing it for years. The most shocking part was that this person had been incredibly successful with Jessica's stolen identity, accumulating wealth and property that Jessica herself had never been able to achieve. Jessica immediately contacted the police and began working with identity theft specialists, but the case was unlike anything they'd seen before. This wasn't random identity theft or a quick credit card scam. This was a methodical, long-term operation that showed intimate knowledge of Jessica's personal life, family history, and even her handwriting and signature patterns. The investigation revealed that the identity thief had been using Jessica's information to build a luxury lifestyle. They owned a mansion in Colorado, a beach house in Florida, and a penthouse apartment in New York City. They had started multiple successful businesses, including a high-end interior design firm and a boutique marketing agency. They had even gotten married using Jessica's identity, meaning there was another marriage certificate out there with Jessica's name on it. As the investigation deepened, Jessica realized that whoever was doing this had access to incredibly personal information. They knew about her childhood pets, her favorite foods, her college transcripts, and even private conversations she'd had with family members. The level of detail was so precise that it could only come from someone very close to her. The breakthrough came when investigators traced one of the business registrations to a phone number that Jessica recognized. It was Ashley's old number from college, one that Jessica had memorized by heart. At first, Jessica refused to believe it. There had to be some mistake. Ashley was her best friend, her sister, the person she trusted most in the world. But as more evidence emerged, the horrible truth became undeniable. Ashley had been using Jessica's identity to live a double life for over a decade. While Jessica struggled with student loans and a modest salary, Ashley had been building an empire using Jessica's credit and personal information. She had created fake employment records, forged references, and even established a completely different background story for herself using Jessica's real family history. The most disturbing part was how Ashley had been gathering information over the years. Every time Jessica shared something personal, every document she left around their shared apartment, every password she mentioned in casual conversation, Ashley had been filing it away for future use. When Jessica got married and moved away, Ashley had continued the operation by befriending Jessica's family members on social media and extracting information from them. Jessica discovered that Ashley had been intercepting her mail for years, having it forwarded to various addresses that Jessica didn't know about. Ashley had been receiving Jessica's tax documents, bank statements, and credit card offers, which she used to open new accounts and build her false identity. She had even been filing tax returns under Jessica's name, claiming income from businesses that Jessica had never heard of. The emotional betrayal was devastating. Jessica realized that their entire friendship had been built on lies. Ashley had never been the supportive friend she pretended to be. Instead, she had been a calculating predator who saw Jessica as nothing more than a resource to exploit. Every memory Jessica cherished about their friendship was now tainted by the knowledge that Ashley had been planning to steal from her the entire time. When confronted with the evidence, Ashley didn't deny what she'd done. Instead, she tried to justify it by claiming that Jessica was wasting her potential and that Ashley was simply making better use of her identity. She said that Jessica should be grateful because Ashley had improved her credit score and built wealth that Jessica could never have achieved on her own. The audacity of her justification was breathtaking. The legal battle that followed was complex and lengthy. Because Ashley had been so successful in her fraud, there were legitimate businesses and properties involved, along with innocent employees and business partners who had no idea they were dealing with a stolen identity. Jessica had to prove that she was the real Jessica Martinez while Ashley continued to claim that she had a right to use the identity because she had built something valuable with it. The case made national headlines as one of the most elaborate and long-running identity theft schemes ever uncovered. Ashley was eventually sentenced to 12 years in prison for identity theft, fraud, and multiple other charges. She was also ordered to pay restitution, but most of the money she had made using Jessica's identity had already been spent or hidden in accounts that couldn't be traced. Jessica's recovery was long and difficult. She had to legally reclaim her own identity, which involved countless hours of paperwork, court appearances, and negotiations with banks and businesses. Some of the damage to her credit and reputation took years to repair. The emotional trauma of discovering that her best friend had been her worst enemy required extensive therapy and counseling. But Jessica didn't let the experience destroy her. She used her knowledge of what had happened to become an advocate for identity theft victims, helping others navigate the complex process of reclaiming their lives. She wrote a book about her experience and started a nonprofit organization that provides resources and support for people dealing with similar situations. Today, Jessica is more cautious about sharing personal information, but she hasn't let Ashley's betrayal make her cynical about friendship. She's learned to trust again, though she now understands the importance of maintaining boundaries and protecting her personal information even from those closest to her. The most important lesson from Jessica's story is that identity theft doesn't always come from strangers on the internet. Sometimes the biggest threat to our security and privacy comes from the people we trust most. It's a reminder that we should all be vigilant about protecting our personal information, even from friends and family members, and that we should regularly monitor our credit reports and financial accounts for suspicious activity. Jessica often reflects on how different her life might have been if she had discovered Ashley's scheme earlier, but she's chosen to focus on the positive aspects of her experience. She's grateful that she was able to stop Ashley before even more damage was done, and she's proud of the work she's doing to help other victims recover from similar betrayals.